Hello everyone, hello and welcome to the Sidereal Insights Astro Update broadcast for August 26, 2019. Thanks for joining me today. So I'm Phaedra, I'm the astrologer and artist of Mystick, Physick, Astrology, and I use Western Sidereal Astrology in my practice. Specifically, I use the 𝘱𝘭𝘢𝘠𝘢𝘢𝘢𝑗 Zodiac, and so if you're joining me today, grab your chart in case you want to look up particular points or signs in your chart. Be using the 𝘱𝘭𝘢𝘠𝘢𝘢𝘢𝘢𝘢 Zodiac for your chart, and I'll drop a link to our online calculator in the comments real quick in case anyone needs that. And bring your questions if you have questions today. I'd love to hear your questions. But welcome. So with Sidereal Insights, what we do every 2 weeks, we explore the astrology of the current planetary transits across the heavens from a Western sidereal perspective. And so we're taking a look at current transits and some upcoming transits. And we're going to talk today also a little bit about how combustion affects planetary expression, because we do have a couple of planets going through some combustion effects over the current couple of weeks. But thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to pull the broadcast up in my browser in case there's questions. That way I can watch for those questions on the browser. And if you can hear me and see me okay, just let me know in the comments. I appreciate that. Let's see. Here we go. I see we've got some folks on with us today. So let's dive right in. So my aim with the broadcast really is to provide guidance for you on how you can consciously use the energy of the transiting planets to affect your lives in a positive way. So we're gonna explore what the transits are looking like and how you can use them, because they're going to happen anyway, right? So the idea is you want to respond to their energy rather than just react to the things that happen to you because of transits. And so that's really the whole point of having a look ahead at what's going on, is so that you can know what to expect and plan for ways that you can put those transits to use constructively in your own life. So let's kind of recap a little bit where we're at right now. So first we'll take a look at the current retrograde activity. And we've had some changes happen to retrograde activity over the last couple of weeks. We have Saturn and Pluto retrograde in Sagittarius right now. We have Neptune retrograde in Sidereal Aquarius. We had Jupiter just stationed direct in Scorpio earlier in the month on the 11th, and that very same day we had Uranus station retrograde, and that's a retrograde that will last with us and through the early part of January next year. And Saturn's retrograde is really only for a little bit longer. He'll be retrograde through the 18th of September. So kind of next month we're going to have Saturn go direct, which is good news for Capricorn Sun, Capricorn rising. But let's talk a little bit first about Uranus retrograde in Aries, because that's our newest retrograde planet for this year's retrograde season. So Aries is the sign of exploration, right? Forging new paths into unknown territory. And Uranus as a planet is really good at granting insights and eureka moments. While retrograde, we talk about a planet's energy kind of being turned inward, right? Aries, of course, being the sign of the self. So that inward expression of Uranus's ability to grant insights and eureka moments and sudden realizations, those insights could be really kind of personal in nature. They could be insights into your own self during this several month long window that we have with Uranus retrograde in Aries. So it really represents an opportunity for each of us to do kind of some inner exploration, right? Our own behavior, our own psyche, and maybe have some surprising realizations around extremes, especially when we're talking about Aries, extremes of selfishness versus selflessness. And that period is going to last from early part of August 11th, through about January 10th next year. And keeping in mind that early January is a traditionally opportune time with the new year, right, for turning over a new leaf, especially new leaves around new behaviors or new habits or new things that we want to bring into our lives, just in time with the new year. So I would encourage you, in the months leading up to the new year, look for ways that you can reinvent yourself in the house that Aries occupies in your sidereal natal chart. Explore ways that you might turn over a new leaf, whether you decide to do that now or wait for the new year, doesn't matter. This is a great time for doing a little bit of that self-exploration. With Saturn retrograde for just a few more weeks longer, that's a time to really be looking at finishing up any outstanding obligations or commitments that you have. If you have anything that's unmet to date, work on getting those commitments and those obligations wrapped up before he goes direct in September, later in September. Pluto's retrograde, this is an opportunity for deep inner healing. It's an opportunity for transformation. Neptune retrograde is really more about exposing things that have been hidden or kept out of sight or kept secret from you. So that's an area of life wherever you have Pisces in your natal chart and where you have Neptune transiting, to watch for revelations to come to light, watch for information to come to you and become known that might affect how you choose to forge ahead in the coming months. But Neptune's retrograde is also an opportunity to kind of reconnect with spirit, reconnect with divine guidance, reconnect with your inner self, dig into your own unconscious beliefs and motivations, and explore, are those beliefs actually serving you? What hidden motivations might you uncover, and what can you learn from them? Okay, so for retrograde activity, that's really what we're looking at. We're also looking at the winding down of July eclipse season. I specifically want to call out August 30th and September 2nd and 3rd for potential eclipse related news. So for anyone who's been affected by the July 2nd, that's the new moon solar eclipse that we had in Gemini, you'll want to watch those dates. August 30th, September 2nd and 3rd. Eclipse news could come up for you near those times. If you'll excuse me just one moment. So exploring where we have planets that's currently transiting. We have the sun in Sidereal Leo. That's mid-August through mid-September. And this is really a transit that's about self-expression, right? We have Mercury, Mars, and Venus all hanging out there too. Mercury moves into Leo today. With Mercury in Leo, this type of self-expression is really about verbal self-expression, right? It's about speaking your mind. It's about speaking your truth. It's about very much about communicating in a way that's authentic with your own self, with your own beliefs, with your own opinions, your own ideas, your own way of seeing the world. But we've had Mars in Leo as well since August 10th, and Mars will be in Leo through September 25th. We have Venus in Leo as of the 17th of August, so that's also pretty recent. She'll be in Leo until September 9th. So these added personal planets also transiting Leo are going to affect how we feel motivated to engage in that type of self-expression. With Mars in Leo, this is really an opportunity to express your boundaries, right? This is about saying no when it's appropriate to say no, right? With Venus in Leo, this is an opportunity for expressing love and devotion. So we have this full range of ways that we can tap into self-expression in this couple of weeks. And that's colored, interestingly enough, by the proximity of all these planets to the sun. So there's a couple of days I want to call out for the end of August and early September. We're going to have the sun meeting up with Venus, Mars, and Mercury as we move from late August into early September. And what that's going to do is set off a series of days that are potentially the most important days of the year for certain readers. These would be readers with Taurus or Libra sun or rising, Aries or Scorpio sun or rising, or Gemini or Virgo sun or rising, depending on whether we're talking about Venus or Mars or Mercury. And so the days that the sun is going to conjoin these signs' rulers are very significant days for folks who are going to be affected. So if you have Taurus or Libra rising, the date you're going to want to keep your eye on, actually just passed, is August 14th, near the full moon. Aries and Scorpio readers are going to want to note September 2nd, and then Gemini or Virgo readers September 3rd. The reason I want to call these dates out as being significant you could find yourself at the center of attention or in the spotlight in some way when the sun conjoins your ruler. And that's typically a day that only happens once a year, retrograde activity notwithstanding, right? And so they're highlighted as being significant days if you need to make an impression, if you need to give a presentation, if there's something that you need to do where you need to put yourself forward or take a risk in some way. They can be supportive days to be able to do that, because you have the sun really helping kind of boost the vitality and energy of your sign's ruler, depending on which planet we're talking about. But what we have concurrently with that is we have all of these planets going through some form of combustion as they conjoin the sun, and depending on what degree to which they're conjunct the sun. And so over this period of several weeks, while these planets are in such close proximity, their energetic expression is a little bit different than normal. The sun is considered to kind of burn up the planet in question when we're talking about being under the beams, or when we're talking about being combust. And so what that means is that we don't necessarily recognize the independent influence of that planet, because it is so close to the sun as to be almost indistinguishable, right? You can't pick it out against the backdrop of the sky because the sun is so bright, it overwhelms the planet in question. What that means on an astrological level is that we're much more likely to feel the influence of those planets on an energetic level rather than through their influence on the physical world. So it's not as material of an influence. It's more non-physical, it's more energetic, it may be more emotional in some ways. So note that through, say, mid-month next month, Venus, Mars, and Mercury are all going to be flavored somewhat differently in the way that we normally might experience their transits. And so you may find that you feel these transits more rather than live them out, if that makes sense. September 2 coming up, watch for the column to drop at the website. It's really kind of this crazy month of just non-stop astrological activity, and so I'll go into more detail on all of that in the column. And that really affects readers of every sign, but it especially is going to affect Virgo and Gemini, Libra and Taurus, because Mercury and Venus are two of the busy bees coming through the month of September. The latter part of September is going to bring a little bit more in terms of challenges. And so what you'll want to do is take advantage of the potential that the first half of the month holds, and watch for more details on that when the September overview and short reports comes out on the website, and I will let you know when that happens. But early in the month, like I said, we have those two notable days when the sun is going to meet up with Mars and Mercury on the 2nd and 3rd in its own sign of Leo. And while that astrological proximity of those two planets to the sun can kind of overpower their more tangible effects, within 17 minutes of conjunct the sun, the planet briefly takes on an even greater power. So we have like this kind of phase of sort of diminished expression, and then these pinpoints of super intense, strong expression of the planet. And so for Mars, that's September 2nd when Mars conjoins the sun, and for Mercury, that's September 3rd when Mercury conjoins the sun. And so the sun will temporarily amplify their power, kind of like shining through a cosmic magnifying glass, right? And you get that nice bright pinpoint of the sun, say if you're outside shining it on rocks or on the sidewalk. That's kind of the effect that this will have for Mars and Mercury during their conjunctions. Okay, so watch for that. Take note of any events, and if you do have Aries or Scorpio, or if you have Virgo or Gemini as your sun or rising sign, you may feel that a little bit more significantly than other people would. Venus is going to be moving into Virgo on September 10th. And so that's really more of a time when we'll shift to kind of enjoying everyday life a little bit more, whether that's because we appreciate kind of the mundane beauty of it all, or whether because we seek indulgence in terms of our everyday lived experiences. Venus in Virgo is really just about enjoying life as it happens. We'll have Mercury entering Virgo as well on September 11th, so just the very next day. And that really kind of puts the focus on daily life routines, schedules, really kind of highlights the benefits of planning ahead and being organized. And so during the following 3 weeks after Mercury moves into Virgo, that may be a good time to really focus on being organized and planning ahead and kind of getting yourself collected and ready to move forward into the fall and winter months. Well, for the Northern Hemisphere, I guess, it'll be the fall and winter months. Okay. Stay tuned for announcements, for news and updates on the 2020 Ultimate Astrological Planner. We'll be releasing a preview hopefully very soon so that you can see the exciting new changes that are coming to the planner for 2020. We'll be able to offer customizing your time zone coming up for next year's planner, which is really exciting. I've had a lot of folks ask about, can we get this for Pacific time? Well, the answer on that very soon will be yes. And the option to include besties for love, luck, and business by transit and by natal in the same planner, which we've not been able to offer before. So some pretty sweet and exciting changes coming up for that. Stay tuned. Definitely catch the August overview and short reports at the website if you haven't already. And join me on the 29th, coming up on Thursday, for our new moon in Leo guided intention setting practice in the Sidereal Insights Astrology community here on Facebook. That's going to take place at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is, I think, 2:30 in the morning British Summer Time and 1:30 in the afternoon if you're watching from Melbourne, which some folks are catching us from Australia. But join me live for that on Thursday, and we'll dive right into setting some fantastic intentions for the new moon in Leo. And please like us on Facebook. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll want to click on the little notification bell icon so that you get notified every time we upload a video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.